One of the most exciting features of Hogwarts Legacy deals with Wizarding World magical creatures, as we the players will be able to have our very own Vivariums, which are essentially magical zoos. Now I have gone back and forth on the pronunciation of Vivarium, 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 and so on, but in the gameplay reveal trailer, the narrator says Vivarium, so that is the pronunciation I will be going with. The Vivariums that we've seen so far are kept within the Room of Requirement, which is a central crafting type hub for players. We were told that a helpful house elf named Deke will be the one helping us discover these magical zoos, where we can bring back fantastic beasts to care for and keep them away from poachers, as poachers seem to be one of the driving forces of this likely multifaceted story. The only Vivarium that we got the pleasure of actually experiencing up to this point is this one right here, which represents your sort of grassland meadow type biome. There will be other Vivariums that represent other types of biomes, but how many in total we're not entirely sure yet. If you had keen eyes during the second gameplay showcase, you may have noticed that there are actually 2 other Vivariums on the upper level of this player's Room of Requirement. This one on the top left of the screen, many fans seem to think is a swamp biome Vivarium. I think that could very well be true, as a swamp Vivarium was mentioned by one of the devs, and also we were shown a swamp area in the open world. I do also think that it's possible though that this one is a forest or woodlands biome, perhaps even a Vivarium that gives a solid representation of the Forbidden Forest itself. On the top right of the screen we have our third Vivarium. And the first thing that actually came to my mind was clouds, and I started thinking of a biome that represents the sky, a place where magical birds and flying creatures can happily reside. It could also very well be a snowy Arctic type biome, as we do know that we will be experiencing winter at Hogwarts, and the land surrounding the school is quite mountainous. Others have brought up the idea that it could be a water biome, but I would think that a water vivarium, or should I say aquarium, would be represented with more of a blue fish tank color, rather than this whitish cloud color that we currently see. I of course could be wrong. Alright, now let's head into the vivarium that we actually do know though. The first thing you may notice when the camera points at a creature is a text popping up telling you what type of creature it is, and this one right here is a Graphorn. We actually learned that we can change this text to represent a name that we choose, and this can be done for all of our magical creatures. As you can see here, the player names their Graphorn Bruce. Next to the text, you can see that each creature is also assigned a sex. When the player brings up their conjuration menu for beast items, we got a brief glimpse at a structure that we can conjure called a breeding den, which costs 15 moonstones. The breeding den can be used to breed 2 beasts and produce offspring. I actually didn't expect to be able to breed magical creatures in this game, so this came as a pleasant surprise. It will be interesting to see how Avalanche handles the aging process of creatures. How exciting is the thought of having a few baby Graphorns running around your Vivarium. Underneath the creature's name and sex, you can see 2 boxes, one of which represents a creature's happiness level, and the other represents hunger. In this particular case, it looks as if this Graphorn is happy as the box is filled with green, but the hunger box is currently gray, so I'm assuming that it's starting to get hungry or something along those lines. The mooncalf here is the opposite. The happiness box is gray, and the hunger box is green, and the Kneazle, well, it seems to be neglected, so someone call PETA. If you are enjoying this video and would like more Hogwarts Legacy content, I do appreciate you considering hitting that subscribe button. One way to keep your creatures happy is by playing with them. In the Beast Items Conjuration menu, there's an item called a toy box. It is described as a box full of toys used for playing with beasts, and it requires 4 moonstones to conjure. We got to see this player conjure one up, and as you can see, there are several choices for different toys in this box. Most of them are balls, but we also have this toy, and whatever this one is. The player then takes out a moon ball, which is described as a ball that is almost weightless and intrigues every wide-eyed mooncalf. As you can see, this little guy right here seems to be quite excited. So your choice of toy will seemingly matter, as we're also told that the cat will enjoy the yarn ball. Feeding a creature can be done manually, as you can see right here with this mooncalf, but you're likely going to want to conjure up a beast feeding station when you get the recipe for it, to ensure that your creatures are well fed at all times. The beast feeder is described as a large beast trough that keeps your beasts fed, and it requires 8 moonstones to conjure. It looks like this particular beast feeder has 6 total feeding stations. How cute would it be to see 6 moon calves all happily feasting away at the same time? Caring for these beasts is not just for the sake of fun though, as these creatures can reward the player with important crafting materials that can be used as ingredients for other crafting stations. As you can see right here, to upgrade this Autumn Jumper uniform's offense value, the player needs to have 3 Jobberknoll feathers, 1 Niffler fur, and 1 Toadwort. We are told that if we keep our creatures happy by petting them and playing with them and of course feeding them, eventually they will feel safe enough to give us magical ingredients. Under the Graphorn interface, it even says, feed and brush this beast and it will release magical materials that can be woven into gear. While I'm on this menu, I also want to point out our options at the bottom. As you can see, we have the summon option, a return to wild option, rename, hide menu, and back. The return to wild option is really interesting, and I do wonder how this mechanic will work in the game. Can we return a creature at any time back to the wild? And after we do so, will it just be gone for good, or can we resummon it? Or will we be able to encounter our named creature while out in the open world? This brings up a lot of interesting questions. Now let's talk a little bit about the creatures that we've seen and how you may go about finding them. To find magical beasts that we can take back to our vivarium, we are told that in the open world there will be these locations that are called beast dens. We can actually see these dens represented on the minimap with this paw icon. As far as capturing beasts, well, we did get to see this clip in the gameplay reveal where the player vacuums a mooncalf into their magical bag. Now, how this capturing mechanic will actually work, will the animal be able to resist, etc., going to have to wait and see. The magical creatures in this vivarium that we got to see include mooncalves. These are shy creatures that typically only come out of their burrows during a full moon, which will likely be the case when we're out in the open world and we encounter them, but in your vivarium they seem to just wander around. Nifflers are creatures that are famously known for being attracted to shiny things, making them excellent for locating treasure or stealing things. A Niffler pouch on its belly can hold much more treasure than one would imagine, as their pouches are similar to containers that have undetectable extension charms on them. Kneazles are similar but different than regular cats, and they have an uncanny ability to detect suspicious, untrustworthy people. Some students at Hogwarts will likely have Kneazles as pets. In fact, Crookshanks, which was Hermione's cat in the Harry Potter series, was a half Kneazle. And of course I can't leave out this magnificent creature, which is a Graphorn. We actually got an in-game description which reads as, Graphorns are large mountain-dwelling beasts that have tough hide and 2 sharp horns. The tentacle-like appendages on Graphorns' faces are used for capturing food and tending to their young. Graphorns are known for their aggressive nature. However, a witch or wizard has been known to befriend one in rare circumstances. I would say it seems like we will be one of these rare circumstances. There's plenty of other magical creatures or beasts out in the world that we've seen, such as spiders, wolves, dugbogs, some type of fish, hippogriffs, thestrals, redcaps, dragons, and more. But which beasts we'll be able to actually bring back to our vivariums remains unknown at this time. Now, throughout this demonstration, I'm sure many of you also noticed the player customizing their vivarium. I did do an in-depth overview of crafting and customization in my recent crafting video. So if you'd like to check that out, I will leave a link below. Long story short, it appears as if our vivariums are going to be basically empty when we first obtain one. It's up to us to conjure up items that we feel fit the space, whether for utility use, such as the feeding station, or simply for aesthetics, with conjurations such as trees and statues. We'll even be able to conjure up our own cottage, as you can see right here. We don't really have any more details on this. I would assume that we will be able to go inside and customize the interior, so hopefully it will be like our little getaway home. And that'll be it for today's video. Much more Hogwarts Legacy content to come, and I do have a playlist on my channel for those of you that may be interested. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.